Have you ever wondered why two people applying for the exact same loan can get completely different interest rates? Or why one person gets instantly approved for a credit card while someone else gets rejected right on the spot? Well, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to unlock the mystery behind a single number that literally holds massive power over your financial life. I know, for a lot of folks, this number feels kind of like a hidden secret code that banks just use behind closed doors. But I promise you, once we break down how it actually works, you'll see it's really one of the most important and totally manageable financial tools you have. We are demystifying the credit score.
Here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover exactly what a credit score is, how these scores are calculated, the real-world impact they have on your daily life, we'll debunk a few common myths, and finally, look at exactly how you can improve your score.
All right, part one. What exactly is a credit score?
To really wrap our heads around this, let's step out of the bank for a second and look at a super relatable everyday situation. Imagine a total stranger walks up to you on the street and asks to borrow $10,000. Are you going to hand it over? No way, right? It's way too risky. But now imagine your absolute best friend asked to borrow that exact same amount. You'd probably be a lot more willing to help them out. And why is that? Well, because you know their history. You know if they've been responsible in the past, and you know if they generally keep their promises. Banks face this exact same dilemma every single day. They're lending money to millions of strangers. So before they just hand over the cash, they need a reliable way to estimate the likelihood that someone will actually pay them back based on historical trust.
And that beautifully illustrates where our definition comes from. A credit score is essentially a numerical estimate of your creditworthiness. In the absolute simplest terms, it answers one crucial question for the bank. How likely is this person to repay borrowed money on time? The higher your score, the lower the risk to the lender. The lower your score, well, the higher the risk. Honestly, just think of it as a financial reputation tool. And here's something most people don't realize. Your credit score absolutely does not measure your wealth. Seriously, a millionaire can have a terrible credit score, while someone with a modest income can have a flawless top-tier score. It measures your borrowing behavior, not your bank balance. So how exactly are they measuring that behavior?
Which brings us to part two, how scores are calculated.
Now that we know what it is, let's look under the hood at the mechanics. A lot of beginners assume credit scores are just random numbers pulled out of thin air, but they actually track very specific, reliable behavioral patterns. Now, the exact math might vary a tiny bit depending on where you live or the institution you're dealing with, but the major factors, they are almost universally the same. Lenders are evaluating 5 main things here: payment history, credit utilization, credit history length, credit mix, and new credit activity. Let's walk through these because this is literally how your financial trust is calculated.
The first and honestly, overwhelmingly the most important factor is your payment history. Lenders really only want to know one big thing up front. Do you pay your bills on time? Every single time you make a payment as agreed, you're building trust. Every missed payment, that damages the trust. Even just a few missed payments can significantly ding your credit profile. That's exactly why financial experts are always saying that paying on time is the single most important habit for building a good financial reputation. Consistency is absolutely crucial here. Next up is credit utilization. Now I know that sounds like a bunch of complex financial jargon, but it's actually incredibly simple. It just measures how much of your available credit you're actually using. Let's do the math real quick. Imagine your credit card limit is $100,000. If you're only using $10,000 of it, your utilization rate is 10%. Easy, right? But if you're using $90,000, your utilization rate shoots up to 90%. High utilization sends a massive signal of financial stress to lenders. To them, it looks like you're desperately relying on borrowed money. Lower utilization, on the other hand, shows you're managing your credit responsibly. So a huge takeaway here is that maxing out your credit cards will actually hurt your score even if you're making all those payments on time.
All right, let's quickly summarize the remaining 3 factors. First, credit history length. Lenders love experience. Think about hiring an employee. Would you trust someone with 10 years of proven experience or someone who's been on the job for a week? Older accounts show a long track record of responsibility. Next is credit mix. Having a few different types of loans, maybe a credit card, an auto loan, and a mortgage, shows you're versatile and can handle different kinds of debt. And finally, new credit activity. Look, if you apply for 5 new credit cards in a single month, lenders are going to get nervous. Frequent new applications signal potential financial distress, almost like you're suddenly in desperate need of cash.
Moving right along to part 3, the real-world impact.
So we know the math now, but why does any of this actually matter to you? Let's look at a super practical scenario with 2 people, let's call them Sarah and David. Now, Sarah uses her credit card regularly, but she pays every bill on time, keeps her balances low, and rarely applies for unnecessary loans. Result? Her score goes up. David, on the other hand, frequently misses his payment deadlines, his credit cards are maxed out right to the limit, and he's applying for new loans every couple of months. His score goes down. Here's the kicker. Even if David makes literally twice as much money as Sarah, lenders are going to view Sarah as the safer bet. This is a perfect example of how your financial behavior and your consistency completely outrank your pure income.
And honestly, the impact of being a Sarah instead of a David is just massive. Having a strong credit profile doesn't just mean getting a shiny new credit card. When you go to apply for a mortgage, a great score gets you a lower interest rate. Over a 20 or 30-year home loan, that tiny percentage point difference, that can literally save you millions in interest over the long haul. It dictates your terms for auto loans too, but it goes way beyond just borrowing. Landlords will often check your credit to decide if they're even going to rent an apartment to you. Even certain employers might check your financial background before hiring you, especially for roles involving financial responsibility. Think of your score as basically your passport to modern financial life.
Let's jump into part 4, common credit score myths. Because this topic is so incredibly important, it is naturally surrounded by just a ton of misinformation. So let's do some rapid-fire debunking, starting with myth number 1, checking your own credit score hurts your score. Thankfully, this is entirely false. Monitoring your own information is what's known in the biz as a soft inquiry, and it is completely 100% safe. This is totally different from a hard inquiry, which is what happens when you actually apply for new debt and lenders pull your file. Simply checking your own status does not cause any negative damage to your profile whatsoever. You should absolutely be checking your own score so you always know exactly where you stand.
Okay, myth number 2. Carrying credit card debt improves a credit score. Listen, this is perhaps the most dangerous myth of all. You absolutely do not need to carry a balance from month to month, and you certainly don't need to pay the bank unnecessary interest just to build good credit. That is a total misconception. Just using the card and paying it off in full and on time every single month is all it takes.
And myth number 3, income determines your credit score. Like we talked about earlier, lenders don't care how much you make, they care how much you keep and how you behave with what you owe. Your salary isn't even on your credit report. A person with a modest salary who manages their money well is going to have excellent credit, while a super high-income earner who regularly misses payments will have terrible credit.
Finally, part 5, how to improve your score.
If your score isn't quite where you want it to be right now, how do you fix it? Well, let's empower you with a really clear, achievable game plan to build up a healthy financial reputation. Honestly, improving a credit score is exactly like building physical fitness. You don't get healthy from one single workout, and you don't become unhealthy from missing just one workout. It is all about consistency over time. Step 1, pay every single bill on time. Just set up autopay if you have to. Step 2, avoid excessive utilization. Remember, keep those balances low relative to your limits. Step 3, be cautious with new applications. Only apply for new credit when you genuinely need it. Step 4, maintain your older accounts. Don't go closing your oldest credit card just because you don't use it much. That long, solid history is actually helping you. And Step 5, review your records regularly so you can catch any weird errors. If you stick to these 5 habits, they'll compound over time and build lasting financial trust.
Ultimately, your credit score is not a judgment of who you are as a person. As this quote perfectly summarizes, it's simply a reflection of how you've managed credit in the past. And honestly, the absolute best news I can leave you with today is this. Your future financial behavior is entirely within your control. You are not trapped by a bad score forever. Every positive choice you make from today onward builds a better, stronger financial reputation. Now that you finally understand how the whole system works, you have the power to make it work for you. So I'll leave you with this question. What small financial habit can you change today that your future self will thank you for tomorrow?